Hey guys, Ellory Wells here again. I'm going to give you another behind the scenes look of the Empowered podcast. Today I'm interviewing Amy Schmidhauer. And the reason why I'm doing a second behind the scenes video is fairly simple. The first one went over really well. I think you guys like to see inside my office, my studio here, even my mess. Thankfully no one commented and said I was a slob. I've got a lot going on and things like that. But that's why I wanted to do this second video. So here in a second, I'm going to start my pre-interview process. I'll show you exactly how to do all of that. Hopefully it helps you. Hopefully maybe if you haven't started a podcast yet, hopefully it will show you that if someone like me can do it, you can do it too. And hopefully I make it look easy. I've done maybe 40 or 50 interviews and things like that so far to this point. So hopefully I make it easy for you. But again, this is a behind the scenes look at how I do the Empowered podcast. I'll show you my equipment. If you have any more questions, check out How to Start Your Professional Podcast. For $200 or less, I give you an idea of most of the items that I use here, and that will help you get your podcast off the ground. Okay guys, here we go. Here's my screen, my setup here. You're going to see all of the crap that I do, all the mistakes that I make. I generally try not to edit my stuff. I want to be as transparent and open as possible. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me, you know where. But here we go. One thing that I do before I start all my podcasts, make sure I go to the bathroom. You don't want, and I do it right before, but you don't want your interview to be, rushed or something, or because you have to get up and go. I'm drinking coffee, but I'm also drinking water, but usually I can hold off for an hour. Anyway, I don't want to keep Amy waiting, so I'm going to show you how I do everything. So let's go right into it. Make sure all of your technology devices are turned off. We're going to mute that. Make sure my phone is on, it's on silent already. One thing that you might want to do is I put my phone, anything that might vibrate on a soft object. If you've ever heard a cell phone on, hardwood or a desk, it drives people nuts, and the microphone will pick that up. I need to log in to Skype and Pamela real quick. And for somewhat, I'm going to try to shut up so I can focus on what I'm doing. I get Skype IDs from people before we set up the interview or at the same time. I'm going to add her. She's already writing to me. That's great. Pamela, I got my Pamela over here. One thing that I also do is pull up the person's, see I can't talk and type at the same time. I try to pull up the person's website so I can look at their face while I am talking to them. I have found that helps a lot. And there is Amy. She says, audio only, correct. I'm running 5 to 10 minutes behind. Can you hang with? Absolutely. Okay, so she said she'll message me whenever she's ready. I'll show you some of the other things that I get set up. Again, I pull up their website just so I have a face to look at. I didn't used to do this, but I found like it was a much more personal conversation whenever I was looking at the person's face who I was talking to. Of course, whenever you have a Skype call, it pulls up their little icon. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I have a 27-inch monitor, so if you have one smaller, their little icon might be smaller than it would be on here. One thing that I also do is I keep all of my interview notes in an Evernote file. And where's my Evernote? Here we go. I keep all of the questions that I want to ask each person into an Evernote file. One thing that you might want to do is if you ask the same questions, just put them all on a list and you can copy and paste them. Whoa, what did I just do? Okay. Don't hit Control All, maybe. Anyway, all right. I'm going to clear the formatting of that. And so this is what I have up in front of me. I usually keep this over on a second monitor, and I keep a list of the questions that I do ask. I just delete them right off if I don't ask. What else is on my pre-interview routine? I think that's about it. Make sure you have water. Coffee's okay because it's not carbonated. I learned this tip from Cliff Ravenscraft. Don't drink a don't drink a Coke or anything with carbonation. Beer maybe, if you're that type. I'm that type too, just not during podcasts. But just don't drink anything with carbonation because it makes you burp, and you don't want to have to burp in the middle of the episode. One tip that I will give you is usually Skype will pull up, if it's not your main window, it'll pull up a little bar, and you'll probably see that on my screen here in a few minutes. But it'll have their icon, it'll have mute, it'll have hang up, and a little X, I think, which would be to close the Skype or something. I always keep my mouse pretty close to where I can mute at any time, just in case I need to cough, or sometimes the chair squeaks or something like that, or sometimes you do need to burp. And you don't want your guest to hear that. Plus, you don't have to go back in and edit it either. So I'm going to pause the video. I'll come back whenever Amy says she's ready, and you can see the first few minutes of our interview. All right, so the audio's a little bit funky because I haven't turned this on yet, and I've turned off my lapel mic, but Amy's waiting, so let's go right into the interview.
Hello.
Amy, hi.
Hi, Ellory. How are you?
Hey, you said my name right.
Ellory?
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed.
Well, I mean, how else would you say it?
Well, that's where it gets into.
Maybe in like Mexico, they'd be like Ellory or Ellory. What else is there?
I get Elroy a lot. I even get L-O-Roy, which is
Roy. Thank you for inserting the hyphens into my name. I hadn't thought of that before.
Exactly. Well, I'm excited to have you on the show. I'm kind of humbled that you would say yes, or maybe your admin roped you into it.
Oh no, my admin. Well, she doesn't rope me into things. I will say that when I did hire her, it's really interesting how, all of a sudden when scheduling becomes so much easier because you don't have to do all the back and forth emails, you'll send everything to your assistant and be like, yes, let's do this. And it's not that I don't want to do it, but it's interesting learning the processes of, she'll schedule like 16 appointments in one day if I don't stop her. So it's like, okay, no, I said I wanted to do it, but with a little bit of grace period between each appointment so I can do my client work too.
Well, I tell you, she was very thorough. She asked upfront questions. She sent a confirmation email yesterday, I think.
We are such a team. That's the best money I could possibly be spending right now, in addition to all my contractors. But that one, I mean, we're close. We're close,
Yeah,
so.
She did a good job. Well, do you have any questions for me before we get started?
I don't think so. I think I should be able to handle it.
You probably can. It should be pretty easy. So,
cool.
I'm gonna try to do some more of my intro before I do your introduction, just so it's one less editing step. It might completely fail,
I can understand that completely.
So, unlike you, who I heard loves editing.
I love to edit. I do. You can ask me about that during the show if you want. Yeah, that's how I got started doing this whole thing, editing.
No, that's not how I got started. So it's not a second
That's okay.
nature.
I know that I'm pretty much an exception, like a major exception.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll give a pause, and then at the end we'll pause after we wrap up, and then we'll do the post wrap up. Probably something very common that you're used to by now.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Empowered Podcast. I'm your host, Ellory Wells, and today I'm really excited to share my guest with you today. She's the brain behind SavvySexySocial.com, and I'm really excited to have her on the show and have her share her journey over the last few years with me and with you as a listener. So today's guest is Well, Amy, thanks again for spending an hour or so with me. I really enjoyed it and want to again say thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Ellory. It was so much fun being here.
And that's it.
Fabo.
Hopefully it turned out better than
Dude, you have
started.
to edit out that flub. I would feel so bad if I ruined House of Cards for somebody. They'll be like, "Oh man, it was like I don't want them to know that."
I will. My wife will go through, and she edits my podcast for me. So
Okay, well, thank you, wife.
we'll leave that up to her.
Thank you. Please take it out. I feel so bad. You have to understand. You've seen it.
Yeah, and it's not the only one. There were several. So
Totally. Wait, what? Several what?
well, there's a lot of big things that happened. Like,
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you were saying
not-
I flubbed it several times. Okay, no, I totally.
Oh no,
Yeah.
you were
Really, I think
you were,
I only did it once.
No, you're fine. So, any feedback for me?
No, you were wonderful. Thank you.
Well, you're so kind. Well, I want to make sure I meet you in August at Podcast Movement.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that. I'd have to kill you. So
Okay, great.
anyway, yeah, I
Something to look forward to then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm gonna meet Chris Cerrone for the first time.
Yeah.
I interviewed him a couple days ago,
Nice.
and that was really fun too. So anyway,
Awesome.
I'll let you get back to it. Thanks again.
Is that all you needed? I thought you said you needed to record something else. Do you do like an opener or anything?
Oh, I already did that.
Oh, okay, great. Never
Sam's,
mind. I don't know what I was thinking. No.
Would you be interested or willing to do? Hey, this is
Yeah,
Amy.
that's what I was thinking you wanted to do. That's
I hadn't asked you yet,
Oh,
but
okay.
I
No,
need more.
I thought you mentioned that earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, I've done that before, or whatever.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay, wait.
My recording's
You
going.
you have to tell me exactly the name of the show so I don't screw it up. And I'm looking for it on iTunes too.
The Empowered Podcast. So you can say this is Amy. And did I say your name right, Schmidauer?
Yeah, you said it perfect, actually.
From wherever, if you want to mention your podcast, whatever, and you're listening to the Empowered Podcast with Ellory Wells, whatever you want to say in addition to that, or not all of that, it's up to you.
Okay, let's see how this goes. My name is Amy Schmidauer. I'm founder and face of SavvySexySocial.com and the voice of the Marketing Lifestyle Show. And you are listening to the Empowered Podcast with Ellory Wells. So you better hang on and keep listening.
Very cool. I like that.
Thanks.
See, you always put your personality into everything, and I'm terrible at that. Apparently, I'm an awful person for
No, you're not awful.
not being good at it.
You're not awful. You just got to keep trying. You just got to keep doing it, but so that it just keeps eking out, you know?
Yeah, like I said, you are very good at it, and you have a lot of experience at it. So
This is true.
Something to learn from.
Yeah. Thanks,
So,
Ellory.
thanks again, Amy. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Appreciate it. Bye.
All right. And so that's it. I'm going to keep using this microphone just so the audio sounds good. That was the end of the episode with Amy. If you have any questions for me, drop me a line. I'm on Twitter at Ellory Wells. I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/Ellory Wells. You can also send me an email, ellory@ellorywells.com. This has been another behind-the-scenes look of how I do the Empowered Podcast. Today's guest, again, was Amy Schmidauer of SavvySexySocial.com. Send her a thank you for being on the show. Send her a thank you for hanging out with me today. And I hope this video helps you in some way. Go out there, launch your podcast, launch your blog, create a product, sell it, and get your message out there to the world. Thanks for tuning in.